It's another day in paradise, the second day of the family trip in Granite Falls, and both the Volkovs and Kealohas had big plans for the day. But first, rewinding back to a bit earlier, when Hillwood was shamelessly becoming one with nature within autumn Kealoha's field of vision, because I just have to check. Good, no babies, because you, Edward, need to level up in your career so I can remodel that damn house before you even think of knocking up Hillary one more time. And it wouldn't be a true legacy episode if Autumn wasn't having some sort of pregnancy complication. Off to the doctors she went with a smile across her face. She wasn't going to let any bad thoughts worm their way into her mind. Well, that's too fucking bad, Autumn, because she was diagnosed with gestational diabetes and would now have to take insulin and monitor her sugar intake. That's just great. Hell, even I'm now starting to resent Hillary. And of course, the stress from finding out about her new diagnosis was giving her a craving for her old bad habit. She had to stay focused as she reached her second trimester. She was almost halfway there. The morning soon came. Everyone in the house waking up and ready for another day of fun. Clint woke up to hundreds of notifications, including updates from his management company, royalties, and comments from his fans. Alexis was teaching Micah how to say mama and Nicole. Vampirism definitely seems to be treating her well. Autumn was so annoyed that she had gestational diabetes, but she tried her best to keep her chin up and be optimistic. She went to the pharmacy to pick up her insulin, and her Aunt Shanna went to get an ultrasound of the baby, sans revealing the gender. Aside from Autumn's gestational diabetes, the baby was doing very well. Not Alexis and Micah gaining the difficult family dynamic. Yeah, it'll be difficult to forgive yourself once she croaks in a matter of hours. Nicole was working on building immunity to sunlight. Even though it was a partially sunny day, she was hesitant to put down her umbrella and go on the swings, but Caleb was by her side, and she trusted him. They're just too goddamn adorable. Autumn then went to her second trimester appointment, which again wasn't looking the greatest. She was made aware that she was at risk for an unexpected C-section or induction. Great. Just great. That was exactly what she needed to hear. Was her womb cursed or something? As Nina and Uncle Ezra were hanging out on the slip and slide, Clint reached his first music-making milestone. He earned his very first fame levels, becoming a level 1 celebrity, or a notable newcomer, as well as an insider and town's favorite. Clint was shaking. He was actually a celebrity. He was actually becoming famous. Wow, Mason. I'm trying to give emo Clint a moment to shine, and you just had to go ahead and have a red, white, and royal blue moment. Autumn tried to cheer herself up by staring at her gorgeous baby bump in the mirror, right alongside her little family, the three individuals she loves more than anything. Her and Shanna were going to go on a walk to find collectibles and leave Sage to hang out with his cousins. Autumn told her wife how she was so confident at the start of this, that she was motivated to not give up and not be scared, and to bring their beautiful son or daughter into the world. But now, after her new gestational diabetes diagnosis and the warning from her OBGYN, she was having doubts. She was scared shitless. Shanna gave her lots of love and affirmations as she held her wife in her arms. This pregnancy may be bumpy, but being the optimistic girly she is, she reminded Autumn to look on the bright side. Their baby is healthy, and as long as Autumn monitors her sugar intake, utilizes the insulin, exercises, and keeps drinking the potions Shanna makes for her, she was sure that both her and the baby will be completely okay. That was exactly what Autumn needed to hear, that this would all be okay. She wished she could be one of those women who could just relax and enjoy their pregnancy. Instead, she had to accept the harsh reality that she did not have that luxury. After some more belly hugs, Autumn and Shanna went their separate ways in the forest. Shanna finding materials for potion making, and Autumn finding collectibles for her outdoor enthusiast aspiration. And on her walk, Autumn realized that she really loves Granite Falls. It felt like Moonwood Mill, her home, but quieter. Perhaps her and Shanna should move here. Back at the lodge, Nicole was watching her parents dance and Zayden was thoroughly enjoying his free vacation. Shanna was taking a minute to study one of her tomes and Mason Meshram was getting mysterious texts from Addison Chopra. Wow, she really is stalking everyone. Nina was teasing her uncle Ezra before joining her uncle Caleb and her uncle's boyfriend Mason for a friendly game of Don't Wait There. Llama, Nicole spectating under her umbrella. I think Nina was set on kicking some vampire ass, and Hillary was fully taking advantage of the free babysitting. Inside the house, Alexis and Chris were having some quality time alone with each other, playing a round of ping pong. Alexis kicking Chris's ass. He has to let her win. She's literally dying. Sage was playing with his ugly low-poly butterfly in the upstairs bathroom for some reason, and after Shanna finished learning a new spell that she knew her wife would love, Herbio, Clint, along with spending his first fame point on the networking fame perk, was getting his picture taken by the paparazzi. Nicole, razor-sharp edges, and Zayden were taking a dip in the pool. Oh my god, you two again. You all were going at it for hours yesterday. Autumn was still searching for collectibles. Sage was bonding with his uncle Edward. Alexis was bonding with her grandson Micah. And Mason invited Ezra to go with him on a walk. On their walk, the two of them passed by the lodge they stayed in on the first trip to Granite Falls. All those Sims years ago with Autumn, Shanna, and Addison Chopra. That trip changed the course of Ezra's and Mason's entire relationship. They went from being best friends to lovers to enemies, all within a matter of days. This lodge was where Mason confessed his love for Ezra, where they first kissed, where they first woohooed. It was very special, and they were both so glad to see it still standing after all this time. Mason was grateful to Ezra for taking him back after what went down all those years ago, how he stabbed him in the back by fueling his sister's addiction. He knew it was a terrible thing to do, and he felt fully responsible for it. He didn't know how he could ever live with himself, but he was trying his best, and Ezra made that easier. Ezra heard him out and comforted him, and ultimately forgave him. Mason knew he was so fortunate. He's a better man because of Ezra, and he wanted Ezra to know how much he valued him and loved him. He wanted Ezra to be his forever. Mason Meshram just proposed to Ezra Volkov, and Ezra said yes. Ezra and Mason are getting married. This is about to be the fruitiest wedding ever. Ezra and Mason continued walking for a while, bringing us back to the lodge, where Alexis had something she wanted to give to our heir Autumn. She made her decision about the keepsake box. The child who needed it the most was Autumn. She was confused about what the gift was. She thought it was just a pretty storage box. But Alexis explained to her that it was so much more than that. Inside this box was every single material item that Alexis valued throughout her entire life, along with a few gifts for Autumn and her siblings. She was giving this to Autumn because she felt like she needed it the most. She had been through so much, way more than Ezra, Nicole, Edward, Clint, or rigor mortis, the death of her brother, the death of her son, Tate and Belinda, her battles with infertility and addiction. Thank goodness she was doing better, and even though she believes in her, Alexis is her mother, she couldn't help but sometimes worry. She loves her, and she hopes that the items in this box will give her help or comfort when she needs it after she's gone. She only asked one thing of her: to not open it until after the trip. Autumn agreed to not open it just yet, but was a bit confused as to why Alexis was giving this to her now. It was so morbid. It was almost like Alexis was insinuating that she was going to die very soon. Christopher hadn't picked a vacation home with a wedding arch for just no reason. He picked this home because on this trip, he wanted to renew his vows to Alexis in front of their whole family. He had accepted the fate he was given. Alexis would be passing away very soon and he would become a widow. He didn't know how much time he had left with her, but he wanted to make sure that she knew whenever her time came that she was loved by him until the very end. Alexis was surprised she still fit into her wedding dress, and Chris couldn't believe his dad bod still fit in his wedding tux. All of this took Ezra, Autumn, and Nicole back to that wedding so many Sims decades ago. They were so lucky to have parents who still loved each other, to witness them grow old, or at least one of them grow old. With their one true love was a blessing. Their kind of love was rare. Alexis and Chris both knew that, and were grateful to be standing here with their children and grandchildren. And to think, almost everyone here is here because of Alexis's Simusi. And just like that, it was over, their vows were renewed, and they got to relive the best day of their lives all over again. Thank goodness they cheated on their partners and found each other. Because for Alexis, this life her and Chris created couldn't have turned out to be more perfect. Alexis achieved everything she ever wanted. She found out what really mattered. She matured, she aged, she lived, she laughed, she cried, she had it all. Everyone partied and played outside, and despite it being only 8 o'clock, Alexis was exhausted and ready to head in for the night. But not without Chris. She definitely couldn't move like she used to all those years ago when they first got wicked on her kitchen counter, but she wanted to try. She had to try for Chris, even if she didn't necessarily feel like herself anymore. There was no anger, no fury, not even that much excitement. She didn't feel these things because she no longer had the energy to feel them. She was fading. She knew her time was here, being dangled right over her head like a sick joke, but she just needed one last night with her one true love, Christopher, and it'll all be okay. It's her wedding night, after all.